In this example, we're going to use transformations to graph the function g defined by g of x equals the quantity of 1/4 times the quantity of x plus 5, all cubed, plus 2. To do so, we'll identify the original or basic function and explain how the graph of y equals g of x is a transformation of that function. In doing so, we'll also state all steps and make sure that we place them in an appropriate order. When we sketch these graphs, we'll make sure that we include 3 key points. At least. In this case, it's actually going to be ideal to include 5 key points. So to start, let's identify that original function. Now, as we look at transformations, we can multiply either x or f of x by a number, and we can add to x or f of x, add or subtract, and those will be transformations. So this cubing part, that's the main function. That's not a transformation itself. So our original function that we start with is f of x equals x cubed. And so up above here, I have the general form of a transformation with a, b, h, and k. And so as we look at this one, we have, and the 2 orderings we can use, there's a couple. A, b, h, k is a good ordering, and that'll work every time. Or we can also use b, h, a, k. So A, B, H, K, you work left to right. B, H, A, K, or B hack, that one you'll do things that have a horizontal effect first, and then things that have a vertical effect second. So going through, in this case, our value of A is just 1. So we won't have anything happening with that. So we'll look at this 1/4 that we see. And so that's our value of B. And we know that that's a value of B because it's inside the cubed part. So the first thing we see, we have a value of b that's 1/4. And that will cause a horizontal stretch by a factor of 4. And we know that it's a factor of 4 based on 1 over 1/4. We always take the reciprocal. Okay, so that'll be our first step. And then after that, we see that we have added 5 to x, and so the value of h here is going to be 5, and that will cause this to shift left 5 units. And again, we know that that's a horizontal shift because we're adding to x. The last step we'll see is that we have plus 2 on the end there, plus that 2 is being added to that main cubed part of the function. So we know that that's our value of k. So k is 2, and so we will shift up 2 units. Okay, so from here, we'll sketch in that original function, and if we don't know immediately what that looks like, we can plot a few points. So I'll choose -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, and then those outputs for x cubed will be -8, -1, 0, 1, and 8. So I'll plot each of those points. I'll go to -2, -8, and -1, -1, 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 8. And so this function is going to curve. It's going to curve in this. It'll flatten as I get towards the origin and then curve back out. Okay. So the first transformation that we'll apply here is that horizontal stretch by a factor of 4. So horizontal stretch means that every point is going to be 4 times as far away from that y-axis. So this point, 2, 8, is going to move out to 8, 8. And so the way that I've determined that is by multiplying that x value by a factor of 4. And this point 1, 1 will then move out to 4, 1, again multiplying that x value by a factor of 4. Similarly, -1, -1 will move out to -4, -1, and -2, -8 will move out to -8, -8. And 0, 0 will stay put. So this graph is stretched, still has that same general shape. I'll finish graphing that in. Okay, so that's my first one. And now from here, I'll shift it left 5 units. So this point 8, 8, shifting it left 5 units, I'll count over 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, so that'll be at 3, 8. And then 4, 1 will move over to negative 1, 1. And then negative 4, negative 1 will move over 5 units to negative 9, negative 1. And that point that's at the origin will move over to negative 5, 0. Okay, so one of the things you're going to note is that this point negative 8, negative 8 has now moved off our graph, and that's okay. We'll keep it in mind as we keep this shape here. And I could even write it down if I wanted. So negative 8 would have moved over to negative 13, negative 8. Okay, so I'll keep this same general shape as I sketch this in. Okay. And then for my last step, I'm going to shift up 2 units. So I'll start on the left here, and this point negative 9, negative 1 will shift up 2 units, and I'll be at negative 9, positive 1. Negative 5, 0 will shift up to negative 5, 2. And negative 1, 1 will shift up to negative 1, 3. And then this point 3, 8 will shift up to 3, 10. And then I'll again connect these and keep that same shape. So that final graph is the graph of y equals the quantity of 1/4 times the quantity of x plus 5, all cubed, plus 2. And I'll label these other 2 graphs that I had.